All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're talking about mastery, but not mastery over some skill or a market. We're talking about mastering the most complicated, high-performance system you will ever operate, your own internal state. In this explainer, we're going to break down a practical, powerful toolkit to do just that. Let's get into it.
We're starting with this quote because, honestly, it hits the nail on the head. It's the whole idea. See, anybody can go out and buy the latest gadget, the fanciest piece of tech. But a true master, they're defined by something else entirely. Their precision, their self-awareness, their ability to constantly fine-tune their own internal system. It is all about calibration. I want you to think about your focus, your energy, your intuition. Think of it all as a clear signal that you're broadcasting out into the world. But modern life, the stress, the constant distractions, a bad night's sleep, it all creates this static that corrupts that signal. So what if you had the tools to not just notice that static, but to actually measure it, manage it, and clear it out for good?
And that is our entire focus today. Your internal signal, that clarity, it's everything. It literally dictates the quality of your decisions, your presence with other people, and your ability to perform when the pressure is on. This explainer is your toolkit for keeping that signal clean and powerful. First up, how do we even measure it?
Think of your body like a high-performance vehicle for a second. You wouldn't drive it without a dashboard telling you what's going on, right? Of course not. Well, these first two tools, they're the essential readouts on your dashboard. They're like the speedometer and the engine diagnostics for your own nervous system.
So on one hand, you've got HRV apps. These are incredible. They measure the tiny millisecond-level shifts between your heartbeats, and that gives you a direct window into how flexible and resilient your nervous system is. Then you've got your wearable trackers. These give you the bigger picture on stuff like sleep, recovery, and stress, basically telling you exactly how ready your body is to perform on any given day. Let's just double-click on HRV for a second, because this is so important. This isn't some vague, woo-woo metric. It is a hard, objective score for how well your body is handling stress. A high HRV is what you want. It means you're adaptable, you're resilient, you can switch from go time to rest and recover mode with ease. A low HRV, well, that's a warning light. It means your system is stuck in a stress response.
So, what's a good score? Well, a really solid mastery metric to aim for is a consistent resting HRV over 65 milliseconds. And listen, this is the most important part. Do not get caught up comparing your number to some pro athlete or some guru online. The real metric of mastery is tracking your own trend. Seeing your personal baseline rise over time, that is what success looks like.
And those wearable trackers, they give us these three crucial insights. You get a recovery score, which basically quantifies how ready you are to broadcast that clean signal. It also tracks your sleep architecture, and we're talking about that deep, restorative sleep that actually repairs the neural pathways you need for sharp intuition. And finally, it monitors your stress load, acting like an early warning system for hidden tension that's scrambling your signal. So what are we shooting for here? The mastery metric is to get that recovery score to 85% or higher at least 4 days a week. When you're hitting that consistently, you know you're giving your system everything it needs to really perform at its absolute peak. Okay, so we've measured the signal, we have the data, we know the numbers. But data without action is, well, it's just numbers on a screen, right? It's useless. So now let's get to the fun part. Let's look at the tools you can use to actively tune that signal and make real, tangible improvements. And believe it or not, we're starting with something surprisingly analog, a simple pen and paper field journal. Look, this is not a diary to write about your feelings. This is your personal laboratory. It's where you connect the dots between the data from your body, your actions, and your gut feelings. It's where you prove to yourself in black and white just how accurate your intuition really is. And the daily practice is incredibly simple. It's just 4 steps. First, you log your numbers for the day, your HRV, recovery, and set one clear intention. Second, throughout the day, you track your intuitive hits, those little gut feelings. We call them snapshot words. Third, you identify the static, things like somatic echoes, which are those physical stress feelings, or ego flags, those moments where pride gets in the way. Then at the end of the week, you just review and find one source of static you're going to eliminate. It's simple, it's powerful, and it is wildly effective.
Okay, next up is a tool that is so simple, you might actually laugh, but don't you dare dismiss it. The posture alarm is just a quiet, hourly vibration from your phone or your watch, and its only job is to snap you out of that unconscious physical slump, the hunched shoulders, the forward head, that slowly drains your energy and creates signal leaks all day long. And the response is just as simple. It takes, 10 seconds? The alarm vibrates, you pause what you're doing, you lock in your posture, pull that sternum up, roll your shoulders down and back, and then you take one single intentional breath. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. That's it. You do that 10 times a day, and you are fundamentally rewiring your body's default state from tension to presence. It's a game changer.
Finally, we have 2 little precision instruments for fine-tuning. A breath pacer app is great because it takes all the mental load out of breath work, no more counting in your head. And a voice recorder. Ever listen back to a voicemail and think, yikes, do I really sound that stressed? Well, this lets you audit your own vocal tone. You can literally hear the static, the harshness, the uncertainty, and then you can consciously calibrate it.
Now here's the most important part. These aren't just a random collection of cool tools. The real magic, the real mastery, happens when you start to synthesize them into a single, powerful, closed-loop system that fuels constant improvement.
But let's be real for a second. What do you do when you're in the middle of a chaotic day and you feel that static building up? When you're feeling overwhelmed, scattered, stressed out, it can be hard to know where to even start. That's why you need an emergency protocol.
And here it is. This is your go-to playbook for when things start to go sideways. It's a 4-step sequence. First, grab your journal and just name the problem. Identify the source of the static. Second, check your HRV app to quantify the actual damage to your system. Third, use a single rescue breath to physiologically reset your body. And fourth, use your posture to re-anchor your physical state in calm presence. Identify, quantify, reset, re-anchor. Simple. And this all leads us to the ultimate goal. We want to move beyond just using individual tools here and there, and instead operate them as one single cohesive system.
And this is what that beautiful system looks like in action. It's a continuous feedback loop. You measure your state with your tech, you act with your drills like the breathing and posture reset, you log your insights in the journal to spot the patterns, you refine your broadcast using your voice and your posture, and then you repeat every single day. It is a cycle of constant intentional calibration. Which brings us right back to where we started. I want you to remember this. The goal is not to get the world's highest HRV score or to have the most perfectly organized journal. The tools are there to serve you. They serve your signal. You are the master, not the machine. Never, ever let the tools become the goal itself. So I'll leave you with this one final question. Looking at this whole toolkit, everything from a simple hourly alarm to a detailed journal, what's the very first tool you're going to pick up to start calibrating your signal starting today?